Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX and the first of the Delhi debates. 5 more to come, remember. And we have a fantastic panel with us to discuss what might be in the national capital. With me here, senior journalist Veer Sanghvi. Also with me, Dilip Cherian, image guru and founder of Perfect Relations, spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party, Reena Gupta, as well as Sanjay Kaul, spokesperson of the BJP. Many thanks all of you for being with us. I'd like to start with you, Veer, if I could. The Delhi election is an extremely important one for not just the BJP or the Prime Minister. It's almost a do-or-die situation for the Aam Aadmi Party. Now, it has been trumped up to be almost a presidential contest. Arvind Kejriwal versus Brand Modi. Do you think it's going to play out that way, or are there local issues and far more deeper insights that we need to look at?
Well, it depends on whose perspective you take. I think Arvind Kejriwal is quite happy to regard this the Delhi election and to stand on his record such as it is. It's the BJP, by not putting up a chief minister candidate, putting pictures of Mr. Modi on every hoarding, that is trying to turn this into presidential campaign. You can see why the BJP is doing it. Delhi is very close to the center of power. It believes that whatever momentum was created by the Lok Sabha victory, which has helped them in places like Maharashtra, will be even stronger in Delhi, and that while there may be reservations about individual chief ministerial candidates, such as Modi's popularity, that they will win.
Do you think it's a presidential contest could be counterproductive for the BJP? Do you see that way?
I think it could be a card which is stronger than almost any other card, because of the simple fact that they believe as a party, and which they have to, that the Modi charisma is still riding high. They've seen an unending advantage with Modi being their main attack person. You know, he's in the lead role for the last 5 state elections. So there's no reason why they should change formula on the same track. So that's one reason. They have the advantage also that while Arvind is as a candidate for Chief Minister of Delhi is a known face, the Congress too also doesn't have a face for Delhi. So in some senses, if they manage to attract those voters who are fence-sitting or had voted for the Congress, that itself will give them a huge fillip, given that they have already they're starting fairly even.
No, many people had already written the Aam Aadmi Party off, Reena, but now we understand, and we've been doing a little digging, it's not as bad as it is made out to be for the Aam Aadmi Party. Some people even saying that the Aam Aadmi Party is resurgent in the national capital. How do you assess your chances, really? Do you think it's only a contest between the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party now?
Absolutely, Athav. I don't think Congress is in picture anywhere. But, just going back to what Mr. Sanghvi and Dilip were discussing, while this strategy of projecting the Prime Minister may have worked in the other states, it will not work in Delhi.
Why is that?
Because, if you look at Maharashtra, you look at Jharkhand, and you look at Haryana, there was deep-seated anger against the incumbent government, and there was no real alternative party in any of these 3 states. Whereas in Delhi, there is a very strong presence of the Aam Aadmi Party. Arvind is a very strong CM candidate. So the same thing will not work for BJP here. I mean, BJP does not have a choice because they don't really have a chief ministerial candidate. So this is the strategy they have to fall back on. And also, let's not forget that the voter of Delhi is much more discerning than the voter of any other state. So the Delhi voter knows that there is a difference between the Prime Minister and the Chief Minister.
What about the fact that you might not have anti-incumbency per se in Delhi, but you still have some baggage of the past, and that is something I know the Aam Aadmi Party is trying very hard to look away from or get over. But do you think that's not going to be a factor? I'm talking about, of course, the 49-day fact that you might not have anti-incumbency per se in Delhi, but you still have some baggage of the past, and that is something I know the Aam Aadmi Party is trying very hard to look away from or get over. But do you think that's not going to be a factor? I'm talking about, of course, the 49-day.
When we resigned, of course, there was, a disappointment with us. But I think since that time, a lot of water has flown under the bridge. And I spend my whole day holding meetings across Delhi. My feeling is that people have forgotten us and they remember the good things that happened during our 49 days. And the people of Delhi are ready to give us another chance.
Okay. Sanjay Kaul, we ran a pre-poll survey yesterday, a live call-in, sort of a text-in show, and we asked the question, have you earned, has Arvind Kejriwal earned your trust as a voter in Delhi? When the show started, 60% said yes. By the end of the show, 80% said yes. Do you think that's going to be a factor now? Or do you think Brand Modi will conquer all?
No, then because if you take that into account, then you'll have to do some sort of a statistical study of your viewership. So obviously this doesn't really make this doesn't make any sense in the context of electoral politics. But if there's a deeper question in what you're asking, and taking off from what you asked the other panelists, you know, as far as the BJP is concerned, and let me argue back. If you remember, David Ogilvy, advertising guru, wrote in his book very famously that if it works right the first time, don't change a thing. And that's precisely why we will go into this election using Mr. Modi as the mascot. It stands to reason, you know, if you have the most powerful icon at play, why would you use anything that would probably either distract or disturb or sort of, you know, or dilute the message?
So your critics say you don't have a state leadership, that's why
you could have, but no, I didn't hear that I didn't hear anybody saying that in Jharkhand or Maharashtra or elsewhere. So my point is that that's really not a criticism. That's basically, you have to understand, it's a strategic take, it's a tactical move, and it will stay like this. If we were to be going into another election after this, believe me, we'll follow the same routine. So that is important. The other thing that you need to also look at is that the anti-incumbency is collective anti-incumbency of the 15 years of Congress and the 1 year of the confusion that the Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress in cahoots created. So remember that the anti-incumbency is for them to actually handle, not for us. We are basically moving in with the same momentum that we have been able to for the last 6 months now.
And you believe you will do better than last time in the state elections?
Without a doubt, and for two reasons. Remember that we were about 32 seats at that point of time. And remember that there were 6 to 7 seats that we had lost by about 400, 600, 800 votes. So my point is that they're already in the bag as far as we are concerned. Any normal assessment will tell you that you have moved way beyond that. So even if we were to discount everything else, we are still past the post.
Okay, to borrow from that frame, one second. Okay, go ahead.
You know, I don't think the strategy of projecting the Prime Minister is really working. If we look at the rally of Saturday, you know, less than 30,000 people turned out, whereas the projections for 1 lakh.
There are conflicting numbers and versions. I was there, I can tell you, I can't give you a figure, that would be wrong on my part, but there are conflicting figures there, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, 70,000.
The Delhi police figure should be something that we can trust. They said less than 30,000 people turned out.
Delhi police has not officially given out any figures, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Getting back to the point, to borrow from what Sanjay borrowed from Ogilvy, a very crude expression, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Is that going to work for the Bharatiya Janata Party? Because like Reena said, the Delhi voter is very discerning. They have slightly different needs from the rest of the country.
Well, first of all, I'm not sure, though we live in Delhi, it's nice to pat ourselves on the back. I'm not sure we are much more discerning than voters in Bombay or Calcutta.
Quite right.
A. B. Yes, I think there's a very good possibility that it will work, because contrary to what the media is saying, I think the honeymoon is not over. I think Modi is popular. I think people will want to support him, will want to strengthen him. But there's one important factor that we are neglecting, which is that the last Delhi election was anti-Congress. That was the prevailing sentiment. And it was a question of who you voted for as an alternative, whether it was AAP or whether it was the BJP. This time around, that anti-Congress feeling is irrelevant. It doesn't matter so much. But yet, if you look at the elections, I'm trying to remember the exact figures, something like 20-something% of the vote went to the Congress last time. All the figures suggest they're not going to get anywhere near that this time. Where are those Congress voters going to go? If they vote tactically, will they vote to defeat the BJP?
Are they going to you, Reena, the Congress votes? Arvind seems to think so.
Absolutely. I mean, if you go to the unauthorized colonies, go to the JJ clusters, go to the minority areas, all those votes are coming to us. Last time, they did not think that we were a serious enough alternative, so they voted for Congress, but they've seen the results from last time around. And even if you look at our vote share in the Delhi Lok Sabha, our vote share actually went up in those areas. So I'm very confident that all the Congress votes are coming to us.
So I'd concur with that. Actually, the Aam Aadmi Party voter is in fact the Congress voter, who is an inveterate Congress voter, or had at that point of time, and I'm taking the 2013 elections in context, wanted to give them a chance. But what has happened since then is basically the anti-Congress mood has turned into a pro-Modi mood, and that is where therein lies the difference. And that's why I'm saying the momentum is too strong at this point in time for anybody to draw anything out of it.
You know, while I'm willing to concede what Veer says, that we shouldn't pat ourselves on the back, that Delhi is more discerning than the other. But you know, Delhi tends to take also the central government as their government. Okay, so is there the beginning of a kind of sense that, look, we need to have a strong opposition to the government at the center? that is a factor which has still not been assessed fully, because there is the feeling that everywhere it's a Modi wave that's riding strong, and Delhi's voters are a mixed bunch. Don't forget that a very large number of them are people who've moved from other parts of the country here. So they see that this is happening everywhere, and the tendency is to say we need someone else, we need another face. And Delhiites have also been pampered. This is the most pampered city in the country. So they are used to this, they like these choices, and they like to set up a yin and yang kind of situation which they want to watch.
But that's not necessarily as the BJP sees it, because I was there at the Modi rally and the Prime Minister made it very clear, the thrust of his speech was, I'm the man at the center, I will get things done for you. You want development, you want to get rid of urban chaos, let me and my men handle it. That's your thrust.
Yeah, which is I also disagree with Dilip. If that were the case, then we'd be a very different sort of a polity where people are voting to ensure that there's a strong opposition. Never works like that. People vote in self-interest. And that is what the larger point was. His point was very strong, and it's logical that if I am at the center, and particularly in Delhi, if we are in the municipality, the only missing link is the state. And we all know that most of development gets stuck up in the obstruction and the friction between the state and the center. So we had a situation which is unusual in the sense that we had a Congress government in the center at the state, but the municipality belonged to the largely belonged to the BJP, and I know the stories of difficulties at both ends, and it's not excusing anybody. And that friction has to go. For that to go, you will want to have a government which is basically linear, in the sense that there is synergy between the center, the state, and the municipalities. That's when development actually occurs.
What is the Delhi voter going to vote for? Is it one linear thing, or are there many things? Is it going to be like Dilip said, that people of Delhi are spoiled for choice, have been for a while, so they would want to perhaps prop up an alternative government to the center? What is the Delhi voter going to vote for according to the Aam Aadmi Party?
See, we feel that, first of all, Delhi voter is not homogeneous like any other state. So, depending on which class you're talking about, each of those class is looking for what is in it for me. And, over the past 2-3 months, we've engaged very vastly with various classes of people. And we've been holding something called as the Delhi Dialogue, where we've gone to every ward of Delhi and we've conducted meetings, we've heard people what their issues are. And for each class of people, we've come out with what our promises are going to be. So we already have a blueprint ready for Delhi. We have a vision, we have a plan, and we are ready to roll as soon as we form the government. Whereas, if I was quite disappointed with the Prime Minister's speech. I did not see very concrete things for Delhi, except for, a few things like LED bulbs and all of that. Delhi is still, electricity is a big issue, water is still a big issue, education, health. So, women's safety, another big issue. So I think people are looking, each class is looking at, what is it for me, and vote accordingly.
But is your alternative or your alternatives, are they specific or are they as vague as you thought the Prime Minister?
They're very specific. I mean, we can pick up one area and discuss whichever area you want to discuss.
We'll leave that for next debate, Sanjay.
No, I think critically, one of the mistakes we make, or we tend to make, is that it's actually the quality of the manifesto and the fine print that really determines how an election goes. I'm sorry to break your heart, but that's not how it works, The fact is that people believe in idols or ideals, and if you can present a stronger, potent and cogent picture to them, they will go for it. Let's understand the scenario. We are moving out of a zone where there was huge disgruntlement with the Congress. That negativity resulted in a large-scale civil society movement. Some young fellows drew inspiration from that to create some sort of a political platform for themselves. But the larger impact of all that was, roughly, we want an alternative which is credible. Now, here is what you are, and here is what you've got. You've got a strong Prime Minister. By all indications, as Veer said, the honeymoon, he calls it, the momentum, I call it.
Still not over.
Is not over, and it's going to move forward. Nobody is looking for somebody who's going to become an obstructionist. At this point, and in fact, if you want to come to specifics, the biggest problem that we have basically is employment, skill development. These are the issues that you're dealing with at the level that you're talking about. At this point in time, the only solace, the only source of inspiration that they can find is, frankly speaking, a strong government, positive, and the leadership of Mr. Modi.
This idea of Arvind Kejriwal being an obstructionist, an anarchist, that's something the BJP plays on, and why shouldn't they? They're a political party. But I saw the Arvind Kejriwal interview that he gave to NewsX just a couple of days ago, and he sought to attack that very idea. Do you think that particular idea, that peaceful protest is still okay in this country, that that Arvind Kejriwal as a man, he's not a bad man, he might have made a couple of mistakes. Does that still hold in Delhi?
It's very hard to say. I know the BJP characterization of Arvind Kejriwal is this shrewd weasel-like guy who manipulated Anna Hazare, came to the center stage and then continued agitating and never did anything. I don't think that's entirely fair. I think most people see Arvind Kejriwal as being an intelligent, sensible and decent person. But as he says, are people going to vote for a sensible, decent person, or are they going to vote for governance? And that 49-day government has dented his image very badly, not because people believe that peaceful protests are wrong or whatever, but when you're an authority, people want governance. They don't want a man who's in charge of things who goes ahead and protests. And there's always that slight nagging doubt that the reason he went on dharnas and all of that was because once he got into office, he discovered he couldn't deliver. And therefore, it was much better to protest. And when that didn't work, he just ran away. That is the huge perception problem that he's going to have to tackle.
Dilip, all of us live in Delhi. Most of us are Delhi residents. Like she said, there is no one particular issue that the Delhi voter or Delhi voters will vote on. But what are the problems of the people of Delhi really, and at a very basic level?
You know, as Reena said, it depends on which class, which category and where you are. For the average resident of South Delhi, for example.
Let's take South Delhi for that.
So, there are anxieties about water and electricity, which is generic because, come summer, there is this whole problem, and, then you're dependent on Haryana releasing water and all kinds of issues, which the BJP seems to have provided some answers, saying that it's our government in Haryana, we'll make sure your water comes to you. All that is fine. But beyond that, the other issues are transportation, which has improved phenomenally over the last 15 years, and so that's no longer the burning issue. But security of residents, especially women, is an issue. And I think also schools are becoming an issue. It's becoming a burning topic with the younger voter, because they feel that schools are not adequate for the kind of population that has come into Delhi over the years. Colleges, of course, are an entirely different matter, because there too the problem is quite substantial. So education is a big issue with the average resident of Delhi.
Well, there you go. And those are issues that you also mentioned, and perhaps in your manifesto will also be mentioned. Let's come down to D-Day, crunch day, election dates, of course, coming on. The point here is, you said the Congress party is probably coming a distant third in this particular election. Do you think that all their votes, you believe they'll go to them? He also believes that core Congress voters going to be up. It's not going to be enough, says the BJP, for the Aam Aadmi Party. What makes you think that after the whole 49-day government, after, as your party calls it, a media bias, I don't know if that's true or not, do you think that you'll do enough in this election to actually pose a challenge to the BJP, which at this point looks like could emerge as the single largest party?
I'm not sure where you're getting this from. BJP could emerge the single largest party.
The word being could.
Yeah, even AAP could emerge as the single largest
What makes
party.
you say that?
See, what makes me say that is my meetings that I meet. I hold with all class of people throughout the day. Everybody has a lot of conviction and in Arvind Kejriwal. Just to add to what Dilip was saying, I just want to add one more issue to that, is the issue of corruption. I think that is one issue which cuts across class, whether it's people like me or it's somebody in a Jhuggi or in a JJ cluster. For every small thing, one is expected to pay a bribe. And that is one thing that people remember about our regime, that even in those 49 days, my parents had to get some work done in DDA. And they got it done without paying a bribe, even though DDA is not under the Delhi government. But there was so much scare that somebody will do a sting operation and send it to Arvind Kejriwal.
Na main khud khaunga, na main khud khane dunga. That's
but we haven't really seen that.
That's because we are not in power.
No, we've seen that for 7 years in MCD. I mean, it is the mecca of corruption right now.
Right.
But we haven't really seen that.
That's because we are not in power.
No, we've seen that for 7 years in MCD. I mean, it is the mecca of corruption right now.
Right.
MCD,
and
the way it's been managed for 7 years.
Corruption is also their plan.
Right. And also do remember that you see part of the problem that, let me just comment for a second on the Aam Aadmi Party strategy, is that the problem that they started off well, of course, with the anti-corruption movement and stuff like that. But you see the unbridled ambition, and that's why I think that the suggestion that the 49-day was barely because they didn't want to govern. It was also because it was fueled by the idea of basically aiming for a higher slot of the PM post. post, moving to Varanasi, you completely confuse everybody what you really wanted to be. The ascetic, the man who would give up everything, suddenly wanted everything for himself, and that's where it all went wrong. And just to add the fact that, of course, it's a newbie party, so they're discovering the idea of going and meeting people. But don't forget, we are a 45-year-old party, 50-year-old party. We do this all the time, and we're constantly in touch with people. So to imagine that you're discovering what people want roughly the same things from everybody. But what they really want is somebody who could possibly deliver, and that credibility belongs right now to the BJP. And, well, fortuitously, we are in the center, we are in the municipality. If anybody can make a difference right now, it's when the state is with the BJP.
Do you think the Varanasi redux would be playing on Arvind Kejriwal's mind? Do you think that's a possibility here as well? Arvind Kejriwal versus Modi, and he lost Varanasi quite badly.
I think he's actually learned from that experience. If you look at his interviews during that period, and as you correctly said, when it comes to interviews, Arvind Kejriwal is the world champion. He can outwit any interviewer in the world, I think. But if you look at his interviews from that period, there was a huge element of hubris. He assured us that stand-up comedian Kumar Vishwas would win from Amethi, that he would win from Varanasi. He actually genuinely believed he'd become the national alternative. So I think Mr. Kaul is right. You have to see the fact that he stepped down in the context of what he did afterwards. There was that element of arrogance and hubris. Everybody says, and judging by recent interviews, he's learned from that experience. But have people forgotten? I don't know.
Have people forgotten?
I think in general people have a longer memory than the Aam Aadmi Party would like to think.
Right.
But do they have still streaks of idealism? The young certainly do. And though a lot of the middle class young are browned off, I think that kind of browning off hasn't happened at all sections of society, especially not among a lot of the people who are coming in from other states and who want a kind of streak of idealism to grab onto. I do agree that there is the practical side to the voter who wants what he wants and looks for who can deliver it. But the new voter, and there are a whole bunch of voters added even in the last 1 year. So there are people who still have the feeling that someone who can make a change is not the guy who's going to run the country.
Okay, last comments from the two politicians, then we wrap up with Veer and Dilip. Assess your chances, honestly. I'm not asking you to do a prediction here, but what will make the campaign for the Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi? Is it just Arvind Kejriwal or brand Kejriwal, dare I say it? Or is it going to be, like he said, streaks of idealism, appeal to those voters, and let's hope they forget Varanasi and the 49-day government?
I think the Varanasi has already been forgotten, and the 49-day, of course, everybody remembers because it was good. A lot of young people have joined the party, and people are streaming from all over the country for the campaign. So I think these are the people who are going to make a real difference in the campaigning in Delhi. It's not just Arvind Kejriwal. There's a lot of young energy. There are a lot of idealist youth, a lot of mature people who feel that BJP and Congress have nothing new to offer. It's again the same crony capitalism, and the only real alternative is the Aam Aadmi Party.
Okay, that's the AAP's pitch for you. What is the BJP's pitch besides Modi, of course?
No, I think we are talking about, like Mr. Modi said rather well, जो लोग धरने करना चाहते हैं उनको धरना करने दीजिए, जो हम गवर्नेंस जानते हैं हमें गवर्नेंस करने दीजिए. And I think that's where we are going to be. This is what we are good at, this is what we'd like to do. We have a plan, and we would like to make sure that the delivery of the promises that we make or the plans that we have must happen, and can only happen when basically all of us are in sync. And that's why the state, the municipality and the center have to be linear in that sense. But that's just one part of it. The more important part is that people tend to go where credibility lies. And evidence would suggest over the past 1 year that it's the safety in numbers is a principle. People tend to go where they see everybody else moving, and I think that is one of the larger reasons that people will vote for the BJP. The advantage rests with us. Also, like I said, even numerically, BJP is already in a position to be past the post, even if you were to take a actual census as of now.
Okay, last two comments from our two independent guests. Dilip, I'll start with you. Is it going to be, despite the personalities and everything else, is it going to be, for a lot of voters, a governance versus governance record? A 49-day governance record versus a 245-day governance record? How much is that going to play on the minds of the voters?
I think governance is a big issue because don't forget, at the end of the day, Delhi is also a seat of government. And, the central government, as I said at the start, is a kind of overarching kind of influence on how the how the average voter on the street sees Delhi. Even at the lowest level, there is a sense of connection to what's going to happen in government. So, for example, I think that the Obama visit, which is also one of the factors which is going to happen before the elections, is something that will cast a kind of shadow, wittingly or unwittingly. We might tend to, rub it away. But the fact that he's coming is something that the Delhi voter will look to
Indians
see.
love a good show.
Indians love a good show.
Yeah.
And certainly between Arvind and Mr. Modi, they will provide a great show in which a third party might be a sort of a non-interested, unwitting player.
Okay, Veer Sanghvi gets the last word. Honest assessment of what you feel is going to be the most important thing that could make or break the Aam Aadmi Party in the Delhi elections, and do you think, more importantly, the BJP still has a slight advantage?
Well, if you look at the results of the last election, the BJP did have an advantage in terms of numbers over the Aam Aadmi Party. There is no reason to believe that that advantage has been eroded. And with Modi's popularity, there is every reason to believe that that advantage has increased. So yes, the BJP is in a strong position. On the other hand, the Aam Aadmi Party isn't without its own advantages. I think most people recognize that they're sincere, they're relatively dedicated, they're honest, they've addressed the problems of Delhi. Many people want an alternative, and what will, I think, make a difference, I said this at the beginning, is how the old Congress voted, because the Congress is more or less out of the race this time, yet there is a substantial block of Congress support. How will these people vote? Perhaps they'll vote for the BJP, but if they want to vote against the BJP, if they want to vote tactically, the Aam Aadmi Party will continue to get that vote. But the bottom line is that if the BJP does badly in this election, then I think by portraying it as a referendum on Modi, they've taken a very big risk.
All right, there you go. It's going to be an interesting one, ladies and gentlemen. This was the first of the Delhi debates. I must thank Veer Sanghvi, Dilip Cherian, Sanjay Kaul and Reena Gupta of the Aam Aadmi Party for joining us. That's all the time we have for debate number 1. More to follow only on NewsX. My name is Athar Khan. Goodbye.